Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, March 11th. I'm Mark Dent here with Rob Litterst, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. The last couple of years have not been easy for a lot of people looking for jobs. There's been a lot of layoffs, and then the rates for companies looking to hire people are among the lowest they've been in the last decade. But the problem is especially acute for senior citizens and boomers. Those who have been laid off are realizing they still need income before they retire, and a lot of them are taking on blue-collar jobs. We're going to chat about that phenomenon in a bit, but first let's give you the hits and headlines today across business and tech. Starting off, another day, another bad performance for the stock market. On news that President Trump wouldn't rule out a recession this year, and on some economists' warning of a recession, the NASDAQ and S&P 500 each fell by over 3% on Monday. The Magnificent Seven big tech stocks performed especially badly, with Tesla down by about 15%. Bitcoin, meanwhile, slipped to $78,000, setting it back down pretty close to its level in November before its recent bull run. All right, let's move on to some pharmacy news. CVS is ditching the store part of some of its stores, and it's going to open a few pharmacy-only locations, probably just about 12. The launch of this idea follows the company's closures of about 1,000 CVS locations and layoffs of thousands of employees as drugstores continue to struggle. Rob, what do you make of this CVS news? And obviously Walgreens was just in the news a couple days ago, too, for getting bought out.
Definitely. I think CVS is interesting. I feel like they've been kind of ahead of the curve at shrinking their footprint, shrinking their overhead, and just kind of running lean. I feel like CVS was really, really early on the self-checkout.
Yeah.
I remember when I lived in Dallas back in like 2011, I lived in downtown Dallas. There was a CVS a couple doors down, and that was practically like my grocery store for like a lot of the week. Like, I would get all sorts of stuff there. I mean, probably wasn't eating the healthiest if I'm buying all my groceries at CVS, but it was amazing. I mean, you could get pretty much anything there. And yeah, they already had that kind of self-checkout thing going on then. And so it's no surprise to me that they'd be kind of like leaning out a couple of these other stores as well and really just going pharmacy only. I mean, there's one CVS in the town that I live in now, and you go to that pharmacy and there's pretty much always a line because it has basically a monopoly on prescriptions for our small town. So I feel like that will probably never go out of style.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. But I think what this is a sign of them paring back. I mean, clearly. I mean, they've been closing stores. They've been laying off employees. While they are in a better position than Walgreens was, which, again, just got bought out by private equity a couple of days ago, I think it still shows that they're looking for answers. For whatever reason, they overextended themselves. They had too many locations. There's numerous other problems that are afflicting pharmacies right now. So I do think this is going sort of minimal.
Yeah.
Going for like a minimalist kind of touch. And it's probably something that they have to do.
Yeah, I think it's smart.
All right, so let's move on to AI. A study from Consumer Reports is alleging that many popular voice cloning tools don't have any, quote, meaningful safeguards to prevent abuse from bad actors. Of the companies tested, which include Descript, 11 Labs, Lovo, PlayHT, Resemble AI, and Speechify, only Descript and Resemble AI had implemented steps to prevent misuse. In real estate news, Redfin will be acquired in a $1.75 billion deal by Rocket Companies, which is a $31 billion Michigan-based finance and real estate holding company that also owns Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Money. So it may be a tough time to sell a house right now, but apparently it's not a tough time to sell a company that shows people houses that are for sale.
Yeah, this seems like a genius acquisition from what I know about these companies. I mean, you've got Redfin, which has like 50 million monthly visitors.
Dang.
And all those visitors ostensibly have some intent.
I mean, ostensibly. It might be people bored at work in a lot of cases.
That's true.
But there's still, I agree, there's at least something in the back of your head that's like, I want a house.
Yeah. 100%. And I mean, I think like Redfin and Zillow already have this model where agents can basically like advertise and get in front of people. At least that was Zillow's model. I think Redfin even hires agents. Like they have like a team of real estate agents in different geographies. They kind of like vertically integrated that part. Like they already have the agent. And now you have Rocket Mortgage. And so you can automatically get like a mortgage lender as well. And so I think they're just kind of like building their own kind of like stack for home buyers and giving people all the tools that they need in one place, which is super interesting. It's a super annoying and cumbersome process. So if there is like a place in our lives where integration and really optimizing for ease of use would go a long way, I think buying a home is probably one of the best candidates.
Yeah, and most likely home sales are going to pick up again someday. So this could even be a case of rocket companies kind of buying when the market isn't quite so bubbly.
Yeah.
So it could be a good move for them in that regard too.
Genius move.
All right, finally, we want to share an impressive scientific achievement. University of California, San Francisco researchers enabled a paralyzed man to control a robotic arm by imagining himself grasping, moving, and dropping objects. This brain-computer interface device worked for 7 months without being readjusted, which is a new record for the technology. All right, let's move on to the main story, which boils down to this: boomers and blue-collar jobs. Like I said in the intro, it's a tough employment market out there for a lot of people. Layoffs are the norm, job openings are not that high. And, multiply that when you're talking about Americans who are 50, 60 plus years old, and it's hard to get a new job if you lose one. So, Rob, what's exactly going on here? Business Insider had a story where they interviewed a few folks who are 55 plus who were trying out these new careers. What's going on here?
Yeah. So one interesting kind of like sub bullet here is that employment levels are still generally very high for older Americans.
Right.
Only 3% of people over the age of 55 are unemployed. But of those that are, they basically found that when they get laid off from their white collar jobs, they can't find anything new. And there are a lot of reasons that could contribute to this. One of them, which I think is very valid, is ageism. You look at modern tech companies, and most of the time there aren't a ton of people working at them that are over the age of 50, right?
Yeah. Especially a new hire
Yeah.
over the age of 50 or anywhere near the age of 50, frankly.
Exactly. And you noted this, we were talking about this earlier. I think another big part is that these folks have grown accustomed to higher salaries in their existing work and might not be interested in taking a job that isn't paying them in that same ballpark. So like there might just be kind of a disconnect between like their sense of value and what the market actually values. The last part is that it's generally not a great time to be looking for jobs.
No.
Hiring right now is at one of the lowest rates since 2013. There's also this kind of looming threat of AI in white collar fields. And I feel like you're already kind of starting to see like people are putting up job recs for AI agents, which, that can't possibly be good for job seeking humans, right?
I would say no.
Yeah.
If I were to bet on that. And I would bet that it's only going to become worse. So yeah, great.
Yeah.
Good thing to look forward to. But more about some of these boomers right now who've lost their work. It seems like when they can't find white collar jobs, what they've been doing is kind of opting for, I think, what a lot of even younger people have done who've kind of been between jobs, which is Uber driver.
Yep.
And if your car is too old or too beat up, then becoming like a delivery kind of person where there's not as many standards for it.
Totally.
But I think what's interesting, though, is Business Insider did talk to a few people who've switched to blue collar. And I think that this is fascinating to me because a lot of industries, particularly trades, they've been needing people for a long time. They fell out of favor for a few years, although it's starting to tick back up a little bit, thankfully. But when you look at carpenters, electricians, different professions like that, there is definitely a need. But the question, I think, is whether older Americans will face the same type of age discrimination applying for these as they do for white-collar jobs.
Totally. I think there's been this kind of argument on the fringes for a while that the trades are really what people should be preparing for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of it has been this looming threat of AI, and now we're starting to see it. Blue collar jobs and like being able to fix electrical circuits in somebody's house, fix plumbing in somebody's house. These are super important things that you don't realize are as important as they are until they break.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime we have somebody come in and like fix our plumbing or fix our electric or whatever it might be, it's like somebody's working magic, right? I think like it's super cool that a lot of these boomers and kind of older professionals are pivoting to that. You have that kind of like vision of the guy who like goes into his tool shed and is like building stuff on the weekends and all that sort of thing. And it seems like that's actually becoming very useful now, which is a very cool development.
Yeah. And, speaking of boomers and working on electric, carpentry, etc., just to show people how boomers are coming back into the workforce. The original tool man, Tim Taylor, Tim Allen. I mean, he's got a new sitcom. So, this is happening all over.
Yeah. All over, man.
All over.
It's crazy.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us today. So thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. So if you're not subscribed, please go get signed up at thehustle.co/email, and we will catch you tomorrow.